In the arms of love, I find my comfort. In the arms of love, I find I'm a refuge and a friend. In the arms of love, all wounds are mended. In the arms of love, a love that never ends. And if you're able to sing it with me, please join me. In the arms of love, I find my comfort. In the arms of love, I find a refuge and a friend. In the arms of love, all wounds are mended. In the arms of love, a love that never ends. And once more, in the arms of love, I find my comfort. In the arms of love, I find a refuge and a friend. In the arms of love, all wounds are mended. In the arms of love, a love that never ends.
Thank you, Deidrey. Friends, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze and just relax into your seat and become aware of your breath. Let's embrace this time where we move our attention and our intention to that unlimited place in consciousness where the divine resides, where God is. Where we can direct our attention in any moment, and with a gentle breath, we can rest in the embrace of love. I invite you this morning to truly relax into that loving embrace, that eternal presence of love, of wisdom, of life. That eternal presence that is always here. It is never absent. It is always here, and we simply need to bring our attention to that indwelling place that is filled with divine light. The light of the Christ that has sparked into existence this holy presence of you. This holy presence of you that is invited to go forth into the world and with your earthly arms to offer the comfort of love, to be the arms of love here on earth. So using that faculty of imagination, I invite you to imagine with intention every hug that you have ever received, every hug that you have ever given, being the arms of love. And in this moment, I invite you to imagine that person, that first person that comes into your mind that you want to offer the arms of love. and envision holding them. Holding them in your arms and in your heart and in your imagination in the purity of their divine life. Comforting anything and everything that is showing up in their mind that would have them believe they're not worthy of love. You are the presence of love, and you are embracing them. Doing the will and the work of the Christ of your being, that which you are called to be. And because at the level of spirit we are all one, we are also comforted in this love. God is, I am, I think, I pray, I do, I live, I love. I am love. We use this as a spiritual practice to learn to love not only those that are easy to love, but those who are sometimes more difficult to love. Because we have been commanded to love one another. So we embrace with love. Doing the will and the work of our way shower. We are love. As we are present to the power of the living Christ in consciousness, I invite you to be aware of the power of the living Christ in your daily life here on Playground Planet Earth. And remember that no matter appearances, with a gentle breath, you can return to the stillness and the silence and rest in the comfort of love so that you may be that love. And so now, for just a moment, let's pause in the stillness and the silence. Rest in love for just a moment. Secure in the love of the divine, I am comforted and I comfort. This truth we claim in the name of the living Christ. And as you are comfortable, I invite you to bring your awareness back to this manifest time and space where we are gathered in the celebration of oneness, bringing forth the wisdom that you are the presence of love. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
In the arms of love, I find my comfort. In the arms of love, I find refuge in a friend. In the arms of love, all wounds are mended. In the arms of love, love that never ends. In the arms of love, all wounds are mended. In the arms of love, find refuge, a love that never ends. And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, let us sing this song as we are preparing ourselves to hold what it is that we want to become. Let us sing, God, prepare me to be a sanctuary. Here we go. God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Let's sing love. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. And if we want peace in our lives, let's sing it. Peace, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. And joy, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Let's sing faith. Faith, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary God, God prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Sanctuary for you. I'll be a sanctuary for you. Here's Rev Todd.
Thank you, Deidrey. So we're on week 6 of The Life You Say You Want. And so if you've missed any of the previous ones, you can find them on Facebook. The first one's probably gone now. They delete things after 30 days. But you can also find the messages and some of Deidrey's incredible music on our YouTube channel. And you go back and review those lessons if you've missed any of them. Today, we're talking about becoming the person who can carry it. And just to remind you, we went through awareness, right, of whether we actually believe in these principles that we study in unity, or if we just agree with them, because it's different, right? Because agreement says, oh yeah, but we don't let it transform us. So believing in it means that it takes action in our life. We move to that 5th principle. The second week we talked about our patterns, and then the next week we talked about our identity. Who do we believe ourselves to be, and how that gets in the way. Week 4 we talked about avoidance. Some spiritual bypass that shows up in the world and in us sometimes. And then in our week 5, we talked about making the decision that we have to make this decision to live from this truth, and that really transformation is a decision that we make, that we are indeed going to live from this truth. We skipped last week because we had a wonderful presentation from Reverend Therese Lee visiting us, and thank you for the warm welcome you gave her. But this week we're going to talk about this thing about becoming the person who can carry it. Because we have this idea of the life that we want, but we have to step into formation, right? To be spiritually formed in order to carry the life that we want. As I was sharing this idea with Kath, and she's out of town. We bless her. We appreciate her, but she got the slides done early for us, and she's like, "Oh, that reminds me of a hermit crab," right? We have that place, that decision, that place of choice where something within us finally says, yes, this, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to make this change. I'm going to step towards this experience of transformation in my spiritual life, which is then going to transform my experience of Playground Planet Earth. And yet there's a time in every spiritual journey where we come to another realization, right? One decision can change our direction, right? We can decide at the intersection if we're going to go left or we're going to go right, and that changes our direction. However, it is repeated choices that change our life. Because if you just decide today that you're going to, I'm going to give up Diet Coke today, and then you have a Diet Coke tomorrow, big deal. That's to me, not to any of y'all. That's one of those addictions that I'm constantly experiencing in my life. Am I making the decision, or am I becoming the person who is healthy in the way that I want to choose to do that? And it's I think culturally that this is difficult to us because it's my observation that in our culture that we are addicted to immediacy and to breakthrough. It has to be now and it has to be big and glorious. Have you seen that? You see that in your own life? I see it in my life, right? I'm going to eat better. And so I'm going to eat better, and that means by tomorrow I should be 40 pounds less. Yeah, I mean, have you ever had that kind of crazy thought that it should be that kind of immediacy? But even though we want these dramatic moments, we desire quick transformation, we desire immediate results, but the overall experience in our world is that spiritual maturity is usually formed much more slowly than that immediacy. That it takes some time. You know, I think in our modern world and the way we envision and have been taught for so long to encounter Jesus is an immediacy. But Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, he says, well, he doesn't see that Jesus was just like this suddenly awakened person. Charles Fillmore taught that Jesus had many incarnations in the standard human sense. That his soul incarnated, that this soul that incarnated as Jesus was highly advanced. That it had perfected cosmic consciousness that lived multiple lives so that it could show up and help humanity. Now, and this is not reincarnation in that woo-woo idea, but he believed that the soul that became Jesus attained creative power in a cosmic evolution previous to human history. And according to these metaphysical teachings, this great soul that we identify as the Christ or Jehovah voluntarily began a series of physical incarnations long before we had recorded history. And the purpose of these lives was out of soul sympathy, to descend into human consciousness, associate directly with the people, and lead mankind back to God consciousness. And if that is true, if Charles Fillmore is right, and it took Jesus a little bit longer than that one experience here on Playground Planet Earth to get it right and know the Father and I are one, then why do we think that our life can be transformed like that when we make the decision? So we are stepping into this. And it is the consistency of choosing to live from that divine light of love within us. So the hermit crab. Kath says, "Oh, you're talking about a hermit crab." You know, the hermit crab, you know, it grows out of its shell. And the shell that it had is not bad. The consciousness that we had is not bad, right? The consciousness that we had kept us alive. The shell that the hermit crab had kept it alive, and it carried it and it sustained it for a season, right? But growth makes an old shell too small. Growth makes a consciousness need to expand. Now, the thing that we sometimes miss is that the hermit crab cannot grow safely from inside the old shell. And it has to leave it. For a period of time, the crab is exposed. It is unprotected. It is between shells. And I think that we see that in the world, and sometimes I see it in myself, sometimes I see it in the people I love, that, we are no longer fully who we were, and yet we are not fully who we are becoming. And that space, that liminal space, like we over these weeks, we've talked about comfort, identity, avoidance, choice, and what happens after all of that? What happens in the space in between? Our old life no longer fits. Have you ever felt that? My life does not fit. But my new life has not totally formed, not congealed, not come into manifestation yet. And this is the place where some people, they go, oh, well, this does not work. You ever felt that way? And they quit. They quit. Because the in-between space feels vulnerable. Right? And sometimes the in-between space, oh, well, it's better than what I had. Right? It's better than what I had. And you ever know anybody that's like, well, I got this down. I know these principles. I don't need this anymore. And they leave. You ever seen people do that? The new life has not yet fully formed. That liminal space, that time away is important. That being vulnerable is important. But then we step back in, right? Because eventually we're like, oh, slow growth means failure. Right? Because we're addicted to immediacy. Slow growth means failure. We sometimes mistake discomfort. This does not feel good. This must not be what is right for me. Have discomfort is, oh, that means it's wrong. Charles Fillmore talked about that too. He talked about chemicalization, where you are reaching a new point in your consciousness, where you are reaching an awareness, a living in the truth, not just agreeing with it, but believing in it and it taking action in your life. And there's chemicalization that happens because your subconscious is programmed at that lower level of consciousness, and so it can be kind of discomforting. Right? And then sometimes we're like, oh, I'm vulnerable and therefore I'm weak. But being vulnerable and being authentic are the places where power shows up. That faculty of power shows up when we are willing to stand in the uncertainty. And still say, this is who I am. God is, I am. And I love. I was drawn this week to some scripture in Galatians. This is chapter 6, verse 9. I got a couple of different arrangements for it because I love looking and seeing how Scripture shows up differently in different translations. And let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. In the Message, they translated this is verses 9 and 10. So let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued doing good. At the right time, we will harvest a good crop, and if we don't give up or quit. Right now, therefore, every time we get the chance, let us work for the benefit of all, starting with the people closest to us in the community of faith. Let us not become weary in doing good. Don't get fatigued doing good. Doing good. Doing good. Not good and bad. Good. God is absolute good. Unconditional love. Don't get fatigued being the presence of love. Don't get fatigued doing what the presence and the power of the living Christ in you is calling forth for you to do in this world. Don't make just the choice, don't make the decision to do it just once. It is a moment by moment decision. It's a moment by moment decision. To choose to be the presence of love, to do the work of love, to love one another, to love your enemies. Don't get fatigued. On Truth Unity, there's a metaphysical interpretation of this scripture that says the effects of right living are cumulative, slow, but sure. And that might be the hardest spiritual truth for people in the modern era of life to accept. Because we want transformation to happen dramatically and instantaneously. Because we can pull up to the hamburger joint and within 3 minutes we can have a burger done our way. And life, right, it's not fast food. Transformation is more like, cooking with a sous vide. Sous vide is where you cook things in water at a very slow rate, and it's delicious, right? But the thing is experience shows me, and I bet it shows most of you, that most transformation happens quietly. And in really the deepest changes in our lives usually happen long before they become visible. Because we have our third principle. Whatever we focus our thoughts and feelings upon shapes our experience of life. And so if we don't change our thoughts, we're not going to see the outward change in our experience of life. And so it has to happen before we see it, because it has to happen in here first. Yes? The precious fruits of spiritual living take time to ripen. And spiritual maturity is not built through intensity. It is built through consistency. We each have breakthrough moments that inspire us. However, it is practice that forms us. The teachings of unity are about practical spirituality. It is what transforms us and ultimately is what transforms our experience of life. It is very rare that any one of us becomes transformed because we had one powerful moment. I'm not saying it never happens, because it does. However, you become transformed because you continue. We cannot contain a larger life while living inside an old structure. You cannot pour new wine into an old wineskin. Our consciousness must open up to be more fully available to the living Christ, the presence of God, the oneness. And you will not become someone new. You will not experience transformation without enduring the vulnerability of transition. And because this is practical spirituality, practical in that we have to practice. This week, your practice is simple. Choose your aligned spiritual practice and stay with it long enough for it to shape you. Right, we talk about prayer and meditation a lot, and those are great ones. But just the daily silence, and if you're like, oh, I'm too busy, you can take 10 minutes. And if you're really, really too busy, the ascended masters say that you need to meditate for 2 hours. And then the busyness goes away. Maybe you want to dive into a forgiveness practice. A practice. Like an embodied, I believe that this is true, and as I forgive, I release the toxins in my own consciousness that do nothing to the other people that I am unforgiving of, but free me to be more present to love. Maybe you want to do a gratitude practice. Maybe you already have a gratitude journal, but maybe you want to increase that. Maybe you want to start sharing it publicly. Maybe start your daily video log and post it every day on Facebook and talk about everything that you're grateful for. The people who get tired of it will skim past it. Or they'll say something ugly, and look, now you have forgiveness work to do too. It's perfect. Maybe your spiritual practice is going to be movement-based. Maybe you're going to get into Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or some embodied thing where you can also practice a mantra that unites you. Maybe you can start doing yoga, and as you hold the pose for a long time, you can say, God is, I am, I think, I pray, I do, I live, I love. Before you move into the next position, the next pose, this learning to stretch your body as you stretch your consciousness. Maybe like me, you want to practice with releasing reactive thoughts. Anybody have that? It's probably just me. That, something happens in the world and then I make up my mind about it. I can be very controlling. And I have to release that. Consistent prayer. Consistent. That doesn't mean, and when I say consistent, I am not talking about every morning when you wake up and every night when you go to bed. Consistent means I am talking about that you wake up and you realize that prayer does not change the world. Prayer does not change God. Prayer changes me. And I realize that every thought, every idea, every word I utter, every one, whether I say I'm talking to God or not, that every one of those is a prayer. Because if God is everywhere equally present, every person I am talking to the energy and the light and the love and the wisdom of the one, and I need to say it with love. And that transforms me. Consistent prayer. And, this is not about intensity. You don't have to pray fervently. You don't have to forgive fervently, Don't run up to somebody after church today and go, I'm going to work on forgiving you this week. That didn't go well. But consistency. Right? Don't just decide, live into it. And if you're in the space in between, pause, because that shell you've been in no longer fits. And if you feel exposed, if you feel uncertain, if you feel unfinished, then pause again. Because you are not failing. You are growing. If these spiritual principles, if these truths, if this is true, If this is true, something must change. And so don't rush the process. And don't run back to what no longer fits. Right? Don't run back to what no longer fits, because if you pour new wine into an old wineskin, the wineskin ruptures. If you try to pour your new life into old systems and beliefs and ideas and thoughts and relationships that no longer fit, well, something might rupture. And just maybe this vulnerable place where we see ourselves right now, where we are experiencing this space where things seem disjumbled, that things aren't right. Maybe it's not because things are falling apart, but it's where new life is forming as us. As us. If this is true, something must change. So as we step towards spiritual formation, we open ourselves fully to the will and the wisdom of the One, that we might go forth in the world as the presence of love, so that we might have the life we want. Right? And this is more than, I get so like bothered by vision boards and, affirmations of, new jobs and new houses. And I'm always reminded of Mary Margaret, who told me, my mentor, who said, anybody can manifest a yacht. To keep the yacht, you have to become the person in consciousness that has a yacht. If you want to experience peace in your life, you have to become in consciousness the person that rests in the truth of the Lord, that is at peace no matter what is happening out here in Playground Planet Earth. Because peace is not a result of no conflict. It is a choice of living from the presence of the Christ. And that formation invites us to be an embodiment of love. And that'll get us to week 7 next week. And that will end that series. How about that? Awareness, pattern, identity, avoidance, decision, formation, and embodiment. You are here to be the presence of love. And so it is. Thanks for letting me share today, friends. I love you.
Thank you for your message, Rev Todd. Thank you for your message. So we are to be consistent, take it slow and steady, like doing yoga. We're always going to pray in those pauses. So I thought I would do a song that would help us to remember to take it slow, but always steady. Slow, taking it slow and steady, letting it flow. I'm ready, taking it slow and steady, 'cause I chose this path for my soul. God is my rock and my roll. Rare is my tax, I pay the toll. Slow and steady. Wake up, I'm ready to get up. Transformation ain't gonna wait up. No, I'm gonna give it my all. I'm taking it slow and steady, letting it flow. I'm ready, taking it slow and steady, 'cause I chose this path for my soul. God is my rock and my roll. Prayer is my tax, I pay the toll, slow and steady. I'm ready to trade up, do what it takes for me to rise up, prioritize my inner makeup. Whoa, I'm gonna give it my all. I'm taking it slow and steady, letting it flow. I'm ready, taking it slow and steady, 'cause I chose this path for my soul. God is my rock and my roll. Prayer is my tax, I pay the toll, slow and steady. Let thy will be done, let thy will be done, let thy will be done in me. Let thy will be done, let thy will be done, let thy will be done as me. Let thy will be done, let thy will be done, let thy will be done. Taking it slow and steady, letting it flow. I'm ready, I'm taking it slow and steady, 'cause I chose this path for my soul. God is my rock and my roll. Prayer is my tax, I pay the toll, slow and steady. Prayer is my tax, I pay the toll, slow and steady.
Wow, Deidrey, that was fantastic. Thank you.